Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Tuesday Night Art Chats. I'm Emily Jaleski, an artist in Central Florida. I've been a maker for about a decade, and one of my greatest passions is cheering on other creatives. These art chats are a way for me to offer my thoughts, encouragement, and support. I'm so glad you're joining me tonight. If you're part of my email list, or if you follow me on social media, you might have noticed recently that I made a few changes to the art chat schedule. Since I started doing art chats almost a year ago, I've gone live on Instagram pretty much every week with a new episode. That was starting to be a lot of work, and it felt like I was spending most of my time writing and preparing new content. So at the beginning of this year, I announced that I would only be doing one new episode a month. My thought was that would give me more time to pursue other creative things that I've been wanting to work on, like adding resources to my website, blogging more, and filming art tutorials. As January went on, though, my husband mentioned that he thought maybe a month between each chat was too long. And after I thought about it for a while, I thought he was probably right, but don't tell him I said that. So a fresh episode every week still seems like a little bit too much with all the other stuff that I'm trying to get done. So for now, I'm going to try and do art chats bi-weekly, every other week. I don't know how that will work out, but I'm going to give it a shot and see how it goes. So that brings me to this week's topic, which is don't be afraid to change your plans. In my last few episodes, I've talked about creative planning and developing routines to help you reach your goals. So this topic seems to go right along with those because it's inevitable that, even as much planning as you do and goal setting and developing routines and stuff to build you up for success, to set you up for success. No matter how much you try and do and control things, it's inevitable that at some point something is going to go awry. It happens to all of us. The plans we craft so carefully go up in smoke, and we're left holding the pieces, wondering what to do next. The good news is that almost nothing is ever set in stone. There's always a way forward. Decisions can always be reconsidered. You can, you can reimagine just about anything. The harder news is that the only way to move forward after a disappointment like that is by deciding to take some kind of action. And the really hard part is that you won't know the results of that action for an indeterminate amount of time. It could be a day, a week, a month, a year, 5 years. It's hard to know. Only time and experience will show you if that was a good choice. Now, if it was a good choice, that's great. But what if the outcome was less than desirable? Well, that's okay too, because now you know what didn't work and you can keep moving forward and try different things. I think it's important to know that you don't need permission to change your course. So many of us get wrapped up today in, being like a girl boss or hustle culture, and just being very driven and type A and direct. And it's important to know that success is not linear. It's much more of a up and down roller coaster, A to W to L to B to whatever. But that's okay. And don't be disheartened if you feel like you're just bouncing around trying to plan all these different ideas and things and they might not work. Changing course and coming up with a plan B doesn't mean that you're giving up. It doesn't mean that you're quitting, and it doesn't indicate that you've suddenly been distracted by something else that is new or novel or exciting. Sometimes sometimes things just don't work out the way that we hope they will, and maybe that's because of timing. Maybe it's something else that you just can't control. But all the things that you've tried, even if they didn't work out, there is some level of success in there because they've added to the depth of your knowledge, increased your wisdom, and they've brought you to where you are now. So don't feel like a failure just because your original plan didn't work out, and don't, if you experience, like a more public disappointment in this way, don't let the fear of being embarrassed keep you from adjusting your plan and going forward again. Now, sometimes our goals shift over time, and that's okay too. If we realize over the course of working towards something that maybe it's not something you're passionate about anymore. Maybe you realize it's not what you actually wanted. It's okay to stop. You can stop that goal and create a new one, or you can pivot and take it in a new direction. The important thing is that you need to not let yourself be held back by fear. It's okay to rationally recognize the fear, of whatever, of being disappointed, of failing, of being embarrassed in front of your community, whatever it is. But, acknowledge that fear, that worry, and think through the consequences, either good or bad, of what you're doing, rationally. Take the emotion out of it. Unfortunately, change is part of life, but it's never too late to start again. If you have had disappointment in the past and you let that get in your way, if you let that become an obstacle, it's not too late to try again. And another thing to think about is that I saw this quote somewhere today, and I don't know who to attribute it to, but it said, "We determine who we are not by how well we stick to our plans, but how we handle the inevitable change." So we have a choice about how we can react to those changes and disappointments in our life. We have a choice about how we'll handle it going forward. We have a choice about the attitude that we will have about that disappointment. We have a choice about how we'll treat the people around us. But it's important to remember to have a good attitude. Be gentle on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. There's a difference between like being motivated and putting too much pressure. And feel free to take a break if you need to. It's understandable to need to step away for a little bit. But make sure that you come back to it. Don't give up. A couple questions you could ask yourself even if you want to reflect on it more, and really take advantage of the learning experience here. You could ask, what went wrong? What did I learn? Or what can I change going forward? Those are just a couple examples. But if you are going through any kind of difficulty in your life, especially with your creativity, there's so much that is beyond our control. When we're dealing with other people, we're kind of at their mercy a lot of the time, especially when we are practicing our creativity and really putting our heart in it and allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. Again, if you are struggling with that, please be gentle with yourself, give yourself some grace, and treat it like a learning experience, but keep moving forward, most importantly. This was a shorter chat today, I guess, again, like I said earlier, I'm moving to every other week. So the second art chat for February will be on the 13th. So stay tuned then, and make sure you're following me on Instagram to get notified of the schedule for future months. Or you can go to emilyjaleski.com, sign up for my email list, and you'll get access to all the all the art chat schedule information, and you'll get access to studio news, inspiration, and peeks behind the scenes of things that I don't share anywhere else. So I hope you guys are having a great 2024 so far, and I will see you next time. Have a great week.